Welcome back to 10 Cents Podcast. I'm your host, Robbie, and across from me is my co-host, Andam Nielsen and Dusty Nixon, because we have the trio back.
My internet's already flaky, so get ready for that.
As soon as we hit record, man, guaranteed.
We get Robot Adam whenever he's telling us, as he's telling us that his internet's flaky. This is going to be a ride.
God damn it. There's nobody here either. It's not like I'm, I need to go yell at my children for watching their iPads or anything. Like, it's just me here. It's just me.
It's all that torrenting you're doing in the other room.
Oh, God. I'll say
Definitely not.
I was gonna say, I was convinced it was mostly on my end at this point because I have Spectrum and it seems to go in like crazy bandwidth spurts. Like I could do a speed test and be like, 80 megabytes a second. You're the best internet you got. And then I could check it like 5 minutes later. 5. What the fuck? It's just hot and cold, it seems. So, oh well.
It's raining, so
That's probably not helping.
I don't know.
That and you're on the end
It
of the
shouldn't
line.
matter.
So.
That's it. See, I'm out in the middle of nowhere.
That's not how
so
it works.
Yeah, I'm out in the
Still my favorite thing to say to a guy who works on fiber internet for a living.
It's not how that works at all. Not even a tiny little bit.
See, this is where he goes, see, it's like a pie, and then everyone gets this.
Yeah. I gave up. I'm done explaining to you how these things work. Jabay.
We choose to be ignorant, so
I've learned it's easier that way.
yeah. Blissful, even.
Yep.
Lots of people have made entire lives out of being completely ignorant of what's going on around them.
And they seem a lot happier now that you mention it.
Yeah, they find their way all the way up to the top ranks of government.
I think that's a prerequisite. And that's the most political we'll ever hear on this podcast.
But we're here to talk about cars. So.
Ostensibly.
Yeah. So, I mean, legitimately, all I've done is get my car ready for Mid-Ohio, and that's like all I've done. Like, that's all I got to talk about.
Okay, so you're going to Mid-Ohio? You bought a ticket?
I bought a ticket, and I actually bought it sooner than I should have because apparently they're just giving them away at this point because the number of tickets sold, high. Number of attendees, not high. It seems like everyone's trying to get rid of a ticket.
We've already reached the point in the year where everybody's blown their shit up.
Yeah, Midwest Festival is never the kindest thing to people, it seems. But yeah, I bought mine the week after Midwest Fest because Jess and a handful of people that like over that weekend were scumbagging me like, no, you should. Mid-Ohio's like right there. You should totally do it. I bet tickets will be available. And this is before race 4. Oh, you should definitely do it. That's like the perfect time. Like that's a perfect track to get back on track. It's not going to be crazy like Midwest
Not really.
Fest. It's perfect, they say.
Robbie, here, take a hit of this.
Yeah, and then it's like
it's great. Just take a little hit.
You've done
Just put the lighter right there. Take a little hit.
Yeah, you've done a bajillion laps on the sim. Like yes. So
They fixed China Beach where it doesn't launch the cars into orbit anymore.
It's safer. It's resurfaced. It's not going to have drifters on it. It's good. We'll all be there. And no one's fucking going to be there. and then like Jess, who was like one of the bigger like proponents to do it, she's like, oh yeah, you should totally do it. You should definitely do it. And then I bought the ticket like that next week, and I get home. I was like, okay, I got everything. Like I got to get all this stuff in order. She's like, yeah, I just looked. That's the weekend my entire family's here. Oh shoot! Oh no! Dang it!
Oh, I won't be here. Dang it!
So like she was genuinely mad, mostly at herself because she's the one that kind of helped coax me into this. And like, yep, okay, this is the first one back. She ain't coming. It's a non-spectator event either, so they're not coming. And then so it looks like a handful of my friends will be there at least, but should be fine.
That sounds like a great opportunity to make new friends.
I could do that.
It's weird to me that it's a no spectator event.
Yeah, I don't understand that, and I never will. Like I understand that's the week before the big IndyCar race, but like it's still weird to me that you wouldn't allow spectators. I don't understand it. Like I'm not like I can understand not having a full festival, but saying no spectators is weird. And I'm sure there's a whole bunch of politics and bullshit in the background that I don't know.
That's got to be a track decision.
It's definitely not a grid life decision for sure.
Well, somehow Road America stacks IndyCar and IMSA and like 3 or 4 other things just back to back to back. Of course, that might have something to do with the fact that there's only like 6 good weather weekends a year in Wisconsin, but
it's true.
I mean, it's 74 and sunny here all the time, so I mean, we got a race every weekend. So I don't know, but yeah. So basically, I just got the car ready. I got tires, brought it to E-Man's shop, and actually put it on a real alignment rack. Was really not that far off, honestly. The fronts were basically where I wanted them. The rears had about an extra degree of camber that I didn't want, and then the toe was kind of just all over the place. Not dramatic, but just not where I wanted it. So it didn't take long to get it all squared away and exactly where I wanted it. So other than that, just maintenance shit. And then I was going through the final forms for Grid Life today, and was going through my maintenance logs and realized that I had convinced myself, you've only done one event on that oil. It's probably fine. It's pretty clear looking. And like, I didn't change it over the weekend. I have the oil. And then I was going through my maintenance log and was like, yeah, the last time we changed that oil was a fucking year ago. Okay, we're doing an oil change today.
Yeah, my general rule on mine is like 4,000 miles since I street drive it so much, or a year. Like, I'm past a year.
See, mine is usually one full weekend is usually where I go with it. So like if I do like let's say I do like a test day and then like a race weekend, that would be it. Or like a bunch of tuning and a race weekend. Usually it's not just like one weekend, but it's gonna be super hot this weekend, so maybe I'll end up getting all 6 sessions, and be convinced I need it before the next event. But yeah, like last year I had a session followed by a session followed by it's like
2 laps.
Yeah,
awesome.
I didn't put any laps.
Couple of dyno pulls.
No, there wasn't even any dyno pulls on that oil change. So I was like, yeah, it really hasn't had like any wear and tear on it. And then besides rev up, and I was like, okay, actually, it needs an oil change. Do it right now. So I'm actually glad I looked because it sure needed it. But anyways, that's it.
What oil do you run in it?
VR1. The thick stuff. I don't know. It's worked great for me for years, so I'm just gonna stick with it.
Brotella.
That's what I run in everything else. But the VR I went to VR1 on the LS, and then when I rebuilt this one, I've ran it consistently since, and if it's not broken, I'm not going to fix it. So I'm just going to keep running it.
We started running in the Camaro way back when we started running the Joe Gibbs driven stuff. And we did a whole weekend technically just a day, but we did a day of running at Coda and didn't realize that the engine. So a small block Chevy with a quote unquote road race oil pan going around sustained right hand corners loses oil pressure. And this was before we had an AccuSump. Realized like 2 weeks after the event, I'm watching the video, and luckily the race pack dash has an oil pressure warning light and the oil pressure display on the side of it where my GoPro was picking it up, and it was at 0 through the carousel around the tower for like extended periods of time.
Oh shit.
And so we were running the Joe Gibbs driven like it's basically just like a 10W30 weight synthetic, and we pulled it out, pulled the pan off of it, and all the bearings looked fine. It was like, all right,
so you're going to keep using that.
This stuff's expensive because it works.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep.
So I've been running. I switched over and started running their LS30 and the Z back a while ago, and I've pushed it way past temperature thresholds that it should be, and it holds pressure like a champ. And so,
yeah.
Which don't want to talk about. Don't want to talk about how much an oil change costs, but
yeah. that was definitely on my short list of ones I would entertain trying. But this works. I'm happy with it. It's been good to me, so we'll stick with it. I mean, if it keeps a $300 engine alive for years, what more do you want? and I checked the bearings not last winter, the winter before, and they were like fucking perfect. Just like because I put in the ARP studs on the rods because I hadn't done that yet, so I just popped the cap off and they were perfect. So we'll stick with it.
Yeah,
It's bullshit.
Can't go playing games with an engine you bought in a box.
That was like what?
I think you're playing games from the get-go when you're playing with an engine you bought in a box.
No,
That's all you're doing is playing games.
It's fine. All it says
this
really.
Point, like, if that motor blows up, it really doesn't owe Robbie anything.
I have 2 more sitting in the garage. It's fine.
As every good VQ owner does.
Well, one is basically because I bought those doors and like a bunch of random parts off that kid, and he was just trying to get rid of the whole shell, but he didn't have a title, and I refused to take the whole car because he didn't have a title because I didn't want to get stuck with it. But he had the engine basically just sitting there. I was like, "What do you want for that engine?" Like, I don't know. Like, if you buy all, like, I gave him, I think it was like $500 because it was supposed to be for everything, right? The shell, the whole deal for $500, and I paid him maybe it was $400. Either way, I paid him the money, and I took the doors, I took fender, I took drive shaft, I took what else did I all take? A bunch of random shit that I came down there for, and a rear bumper, and the engine. So it was basically a free engine, and all I wanted it for was the upper oil pan, because that's what's different between the VQ that I have in my garage, because that came out of a G35, and that one is that I just need the upper oil pan, because that's what's going to be different. Everything else is the same.
Is the oil pan 2 pieces?
Yeah, so you have
big,
the lower than the big upper, and because this was a front wheel drive car, it has like it's like a through section in the upper oil pan on that one, but everything from that point up is the same.
Oh, it was out of an all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, that explains it.
So
Yeah, I was like, I didn't.
Sorry, I should have clarified that.
Yeah, I was.
Okay.
I was wondering what was different.
Yeah,
I was wondering what was different on a regular G35, but yeah,
yep,
the X version, that makes sense.
that's the one. But yeah, so that one's the only thing wrong with that one.
for extreme.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That one has. Oh, they took the flywheel off and broke off 2 bolts. Other than that, it's a good engine. So there's studs in the crankshaft. So I could.
Well, that's easy. That's easy enough.
You just dump the bolts there. It's fine.
It's legitimately easy to take those out. And then also, Joe gave me a good crank that he had sitting in his shop that he wanted to get rid of, as well as 2 good heads. So I have 2.5 engines sitting in my garage. It's fine.
It's time to start gathering parts for the 9,500 RPM.
The GLGT build.
No, definitely not that. Definitely not doing that. Racing its fucking GT4 cars. Yeah, right.
Hey, it's a top 10.
I could have been a top 10 driver at GLGT. I could have.
By the time he gets that motor put together, he won't be a top 10 driver, though.
No, definitely not. All the rest of the factory built cars will be there by then.
Right.
Oh well, but yeah.
I think you got the rest of this
I feel
season
like he's
because
in a
I'll.
WRL race swimming in a sea of GT4 Porsches.
Yeah, but all those people have their schedule for the year made up already, so you've got the rest of this season to just go there and lay waste to the backfield. Yeah,
Good point. It's a good point.
Yep. No. Anyways, yeah, I do plan on building one of those engines up. I keep saying that like every winter. I was like, I'll start putting parts together and start doing it, and then just hasn't been a priority. So hopefully it does not become a priority because it has to become a priority.
VQs live forever.
It's fine. I run the thick oil. It's fine.
If you put expensive enough oil in an old enough engine, everything will be fine.
It's fine. When in doubt, make it thicker. It's fine.
That's I mean, really, that's rules to live by. You know?
And also, that's what she said.
Or he.
Yeah.
We don't judge.
No,
It is that.
No judgment. Yeah, that's literally all I've been up to, is that I just did a little bit of maintenance, got the car ready, good to go.
I mean, I'd say I'd watch it on the stream, but number one, I can't.
Is there not a stream?
No, there's no stream.
Okay, I'm actually looking forward to it more now.
And number two, if there was, I wouldn't watch it anyway.
I know you don't, but like,
here.
I actually thought there was a stream, so that actually that's good. Okay,
no stream.
That would explain the less number of attendees then, probably too.
That's also why there's no podium sprint for Time Attack. It's just regular Time Attack weekend.
Oh yeah, because there's no GLTC shootout either. Now that you mention it,
there you go.
Yeah, how about that?
No GLTC Time Attack. I mean,
I'm not mad about it.
So
I just want 4 clean races. That'd be great.
Is there GLGT?
Yes. I'm gonna say yes.
Hold,
I haven't looked.
Hold, please.
Yeah, I looked. I had this.
Rush?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Rush for sure.
There is Rush.
Yes, I know there's Rush.
Yeah,
I say
GLGT and Rush.
Okay.
And GLTC.
I thought so.
I was going to say,
Trevor.
they're not doing the podium sprint. They're not doing the top 10 shootout. They're not doing drifting. What are they going to do with all their track time with no HPDE? But that makes more sense.
Bro, there's so much track time though. Well, I mean, not so much track time. It's so spread out. My sessions are at 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. Basically every day,
That's super annoying.
except Sunday. It's more condensed, so I can be out of there by 2 o'clock.
Are you
wow.
racing? Is it still racing Sunday?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, 2 races on Sunday.
Yeah, so it's Friday is practice and qualifying. Saturday race 1, 2. Sunday's race 3, 4.
Dude, that's a spread out.
It's a very spread out weekend, which isn't bad. Like if you have any sort of issue, it gives you time to get it fixed. But
Oh no, my mouse died.
then I'll still be home by 3, 4 o'clock on Sunday. That's nice.
Just in time to see the wife's family.
They'll be here Monday too, so I'll see them.
Damn it.
Some weird weekend that the Grid Life ran race on Monday.
Yeah,
too.
I don't know what to. We all just stayed the night. I'm just gonna go straight to work on Monday. How about that?
Somehow I got home like right after they left though. It's weird.
Oh, jeez. Anyways, that's me. That's my whole existence the last couple of weeks. It's just maintenance and sim stuff.
Gross.
That's been fun.
Maintenance.
I'll take maintenance over
Yeah, maintenance is better than
what Michael Helo's
Thrashing.
doing. Yeah.
collision repair or engine replacement.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or flying across the country
Or-
to meet your engine there and then have your engine still be in California.
Let's say, yeah, trying to figure out where the hell your engine is. Ooh.
That's
It's not worth it, man.
That's rough. Very rough. So hopefully that engine shows up and he can have his car ready. Then he'll be there.
So let's compare Grid Life, like known Grid Life personalities and shipping stuff luck. So if Ferris shipped his car to Australia and then Japan and then back to Australia and then back home, and I think knew where it was the entire time, and poor Stubbs is just trying to get an engine to freaking Ohio.
Illinois.
Illinois, okay.
Oh man. But they found it, and then so it should be on its way. I don't know if he was sticking around all week or not, but if he was, then he could be here. I haven't kept up.
Yeah, so he was.
I don't know
he was
whether to
working.
commend him or berate him. Like I just don't.
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
Hey, he's just out there doing it for the content.
I'm cheering him on the whole way. I really am. I
Oh
won't.
yeah, absolutely. But
But man,
yikes.
yep, rough one. But anyways, Adam, what have you been up to?
So, well, a couple of things. So I have a bit of a funny story. So a couple of weeks ago, now it's been a while. Katie calls me right as I'm leaving work, and she's like, "You got a ticket in the mail," and I was like, "Okay, that seems weird." And I was like, "From where?" And she's like, "Marion, Iowa," and I was like, "Nope, did not get a ticket in the mail from Marion, Iowa, because I haven't been to Marion, Iowa in like 3 years, and the last time I was there, I was in a work vehicle, so they wouldn't have sent that to my home address." and she's like looking at it, and she goes, "It says it's for your S10." And I was like, "Strike two, swing and a miss."
Oh my!
Like,
Here, I'm gonna do this without showing your address. How about that?
Oh, I didn't even think.
Oh,
about
everybody has that anyway.
that. Yeah, I mean, everybody who cares has already got it, so whatever. But no, so I get home, and sure as shit, it is for my custom plate that I had on the S10.
Is it spelled that way?
Yep.
Okay.
WAAPSH. Because
That's a Road
somebody
America
had
plate too.
Yep. So it gets better.
That's the problem.
So I'm looking at this plate, and at first I'm like, okay, first of all,
That's a Wisconsin
Mazda
plate.
There it is. There it is.
That's a Mazda Speed 3. And obviously I'm not driving a Mazda Speed 3, but okay, I can see where they might just assume that I swapped the plates and didn't register it or something like that. That's fine. Well, in Iowa, we have a black plate, a black and white plate, which is a very, very popular plate. And when you look at the picture at first, it just looks like one of those plates. Well, there's again some problems with that. Last time I had the S10 registered, that plate was not available.
Correct.
So, and then I get to looking at it, I'm like, wait a second. That's a Road America silhouette. That's a Wisconsin plate. And so he basically, you can go on their website and you can watch the video of this, what I assume is young child. I assume he's like a 19, 20-year-old kid in a Mazda Speed 3. And he comes rolling up to that stop sign that stoplight and just turns right and keeps on going. Like, I mean, that car didn't drop below 15 miles an hour. He just went right on through.
It says 19.
Yeah. So I was trying to figure out. I was trying to figure out what the violation was because it says post speed 50, vehicle speed 19. I'm like, whoa.
No. So he rolled right through that red light. Didn't stop at all when he turned right. And so I don't know how familiar you guys are with these systems, but most of these traffic camera systems are not managed by the city that they're installed in.
Correct.
So this particular one is managed by some company who has a call center in Boston, Massachusetts. And the way I kind of understand how most of these work, I don't know if this is exactly how it is in Marion, but the way I understand most of these work is that these companies go around to the municipalities and they say, hey, we'll install the cameras, we'll pay for the install, we'll pay for the upkeep, we'll do all that stuff.
You just give us a certain percentage.
You just got to sign the tickets, and then we'll manage all that. We'll write you a check at the end of the month. Because the ticket does come from the city of Marion, and it did have an officer's signature on it. So at some level, they are like
reviewing
air
them.
quotes checking these things. Clearly, they're not checking them very well because I don't have a Mazda Speed 3. That truck hasn't been registered in my name since 2017, and I don't have a Wisconsin plate. But that's neither here nor there. So I call this. Of course, it says very specifically on all the ticket information that you are not to call the Marion Police Department. You have to call this call center. So I call the call center like 10 minutes before they close because it's the end of the day.
Yep.
And I talked to some lady on the phone and she's like, okay, well, I don't know anything about this stuff. I'll have to escalate this to a manager and someone will call you tomorrow. And I was like, oh, great. Here we go. This is going to be a whole deal. Like, I'm fully prepared to take a day off of work because there's a court date and everything. I'm fully prepared to take a day off of work and go plead my case in Marion, Iowa, which is like a solid 2 hours away from here. I don't care. I'm not paying this ticket. I'll spend more money not paying this than it would for me to just pay this ticket.
The catch with these is it's not a criminal thing, right?
No, I think it is because it has a police officer's signature on it. I think it's legit.
Maybe I'm thinking because there was a big stink down here because they were putting cameras on the sides of school buses and it was the same deal, but it was essentially just like a collection. Like if you didn't pay it, it was kind of like not paying a toll. They just turned you over to collections. Like it wasn't an actual traffic violation.
I think it's similar here.
And I think these work in a similar way. I might be wrong. This isn't legal advice.
Well, and it might be different from state to state too. I'm assuming since there's a cop's signature on here and all that stuff, that this is a legit ticket.
I also like that you have to remit payment to the Citations Processing Center - Marion, Iowa, P.O. Box 59045, Boston, Massachusetts.
Right.
That makes it seem legit.
Yeah, exactly. So I talked to the lady. She tells me she can't do anything about it. It needs to be escalated to a manager. They'll call me back tomorrow. Tomorrow comes. They didn't call me back. I know you guys are all shocked.
Blown
Yeah,
away.
absolutely. Yeah, I was too. Shocked as you. So of course I called him back. And the next person I talked to on the phone, she asked for my citation number. I read her the citation number and she's like, "Can you read it to me again?" Sure. Read it again. And she goes, "I'm going to read it back to you." Okay. She reads it back to me and I go, "Yep, that's the one." She goes, "Yeah, that doesn't exist in our system." No. Like, I'm reading it right off the paperwork and I talked to somebody there yesterday. So what do you mean this doesn't exist in your system? And she goes, "Well, what's your name?" And I gave her my name. She said, "You just call with the same phone number?" Yes. And so she looks up, she goes, "Okay, I found your call in our call log from yesterday." And she goes, I found the ticket number, which matches what you said, but then it just says ticket canceled. And I was like, "Okay, so then we're good here?" And she goes, "Well, normally when the ticket gets canceled, it doesn't get deleted from the system." I'm like, "Okay."
Maybe they canceled that version of it and looked it up for the Wisconsin one and issued it that direction.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was wondering, is if they did that. But so
they gonna get that money one way or another.
Oh, for sure.
I called back the next day and went through the same role, and I got the same answer. And I said to that person, "So we're good here, right? Like this is not coming back to me." And they're like, "Well, I don't think so." I'm like,
a lot of confidence in that.
yeah. So
they were like, "Sure, this isn't legal advice, by the way."
Yeah. So I took a bunch of pictures of that ticket and all that stuff. And I even took a picture of the license plate on the truck in my driveway with a timestamp on it and everything.
Yep.
And like, it's on my phone so that if I get pulled over and they're like, "Yeah, well, you got this running a red light in Marion, Iowa," I'll be like, "No, I do not." Because I don't trust it.
I wouldn't trust it, but I would think you're probably good.
I'm probably good. But the minute I'm like, "Yep, I'm good," I'm going to get slapped with it.
No, because I think if they know that you're not the right one and that they would lose that if you decided to fight it, they're going to go send it to the right one.
Yeah. That's what I assume they're doing, is that, I assume that they have something worked out with the state of Wisconsin. They can get that license plate there too. But if I remember right, there's like a license plate trim ring, so you can't really, and it's not a very clear picture. Read Wisconsin on it.
Oh yeah,
but
you definitely can't
only a real Road America enthusiast would recognize
right.
it as
Well,
quickly.
I was like, wait a second, I've been there. I know what that plate is.
Dalton would for sure recognize it since he has such a strong hatred for that place.
Because I get where he's coming from.
So
Having never been on the track.
So I searched Iowa red light camera law, and one of the things that people asked is, "Do you have to pay red light camera tickets in Iowa?" And the answer came from the Marion, Iowa website.
Yeah. What's it say? Does it say this is not legal advice?
Yeah, it just says citations are issued to the registered owner of the vehicle, and they are responsible for either paying the fine or contesting it.
I don't know. Part of me thought about maybe calling the police department itself and being like, "Are we good here?"
They're going to be like, "We don't care." Legitimately. We just
I'm going to tell them, "I don't either, but I'm not giving you $100.
Yeah.
Here's another story from October 2024 that says that Iowa Transportation shuts down ticket cameras statewide.
They did for a while.
They came back. Don't you worry. They only shut them down long enough.
They were like,
forget
"Ooh."
about them.
The budget for November looks like shit. What the heck?
That's happened.
Oh,
more
we
than
killed the
once.
cameras. Oh no.
Yep.
That's happened more than once.
Yep.
They've killed them and turned them back on. There's a speed camera on one of the interstates in Des Moines, and
Yep.
they've shut it off, turned it back on, shut it off, turned it back. I mean, it's probably happened 6 or 8 times that it gets turned off and turned back on again. And at this point, I don't think anybody even knows what status it sits at.
Yeah, I could. Yeah,
We
I
all
was there.
just slow down when we go under that bridge and then speed back up again. It's fine.
Yep.
You know what's better than just sustained 15 miles per hour over the speed limit? It's 15 and then 2 and then back to 15 in the span
Right,
of like
yeah,
200
absolutely.
yards.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's about safety, not revenue.
I don't know. It was a whole deal. Like, I couldn't believe. And the thing about it, the whole thing is that if I wasn't the car guy that I am, I don't know that I would have been able to as quickly and easily poke holes in this. Like, obviously, if it was just a regular plate that just happened to match up with some random regular plate from Wisconsin, I wouldn't have been able to identify it as a Mazda Speed 3. I wouldn't have been able to identify that as a Wisconsin Road America special edition plate. I wouldn't I may have actually had to put a lot more effort into fighting this. But also, I feel like the cop who signed the ticket should have looked at that and went, that's not our black and white plate. That's not a Chevy S10. I've got some questions.
Yeah, they clearly aren't looking at these. It's
No.
a pencil
Yeah,
whip.
there's-
Through,
that-
that's
it's
stamp,
fully
stamp, stamp, stamp,
automated.
stamp. Yeah, they don't care.
Right. So, I don't know. It was a whole deal. Katie thought it was hilarious. I was a little worked up at first, and then I decided it was also hilarious.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. It was, I don't know. That was my excitement for a few days. So,
Well, at least you didn't have to pay it.
but
You could have treated it like Dalton with all those Illinois tolls. Just thrown it away.
Yep.
again, this is not legal advice.
Yeah, clearly. 10 Gavels legal podcast.
Yes, exactly.
That one publishes on Tuesdays, not
I got
Sundays.
one in the mail from Kansas. I got one in the mail from Kansas, and I paid that one. So
How's that
because
paid?
I actually use that turnpike system semi regularly.
Yeah,
So
I usually skip the Illinois ones and then pay them when they show up. And I've gotten lucky a couple times.
The Texas toll tag ones interface with all of those different systems. Like whenever I went to Topeka, I have no idea how much it ended up costing my wife.
well, in Kansas now, there's no there is no toll booth.
Illinois
Yeah,
is kind
that's
of
the
that
way
way
Texas
too now.
is too.
It's all cashless, and if you're not registered in their system with some sort of tag, you'll just get a bill in the mail.
Yep.
Yeah.
Period.
And in Texas, if you don't have the tag, you get to pay double.
Oh, cool.
Of course you do.
Yeah. So my like 370 each way that I take to and from work would be like 740 each way.
That's too much, man.
To I'm assuming drive on some broken ass piece of shit road still.
No,
No,
it's
it's
Texas.
a
fine.
badass. It's 4 lanes in each direction and everyone runs 90, so I don't mind it.
Oh, okay.
Plus, they don't have salt. It's fine.
I mean, that's fair. They don't have frosty even salt.
Well, and so whenever we do have the threat of winter weather, they're out treating it something. It's not salt. I don't know what it is, but they treat it with something. They're consistently the only roads that don't turn into a giant mess whenever it gets nasty, because they actually go out and do it. Because they're swimming in cash. No doubt. Thanks to me and other people like me, but.
We appreciate your contribution to
Yeah.
society, Dusty. So, but so in other automotive related news in my life, my father's car shenanigans continue.
Nice.
So,
Hey, we got a whole picture of it.
yeah, I took a picture of the car finally. So last time we left off talking about the gasser, he had not successfully made a pass. I don't even remember all the issues. I think, did we talk about the water cooling issues?
No, we did not.
No. Okay, because I swear we talked about where he took it, so he crashed it. We fixed that problem.
Yes.
He went back to the racetrack. I think
I thought you said he sent me a
the
picture.
last
I don't know a
thing
picture
was
of this.
something happened whenever he was towing it to the track.
That's
Last
right.
time.
Yeah, he was towing it to the track, and then when he backed it out, it threw a bunch of bolts on the ground. That was some flywheel issues. So he's got a Chevy transmission in there, and he has an adapter plate and to bolt up to the Pontiac motor. And I don't think that system is going to be long term. I think he's going to end up having to get a different transmission for that car. But then also he got to the racetrack and got out on test and tune pass. I swear we talked about this. He launched the car and it just puked water out the whole way. Like,
no, I don't think we did. He
don't
launched
remember
it.
that.
Yeah, he launched it off the back of the.
yeah. So when he got back to the racetrack, finally, I think this might have been two attempts later, launched the car, and then it immediately, like, RPM straight to the moon, pulled hard towards the wall, and he lifted, let it out, and just kind of coasted out and came back around. And they said that he watered down the track the whole way down. Well, apparently it blew the radiator cap off.
Okay,
I swear we talked about this.
Okay, now that you mention it, I do remember. I remember
the radiator cap was probably rated in bar.
Yeah, we did talk about this.
Remember this now?
I do now. Okay. I do.
So he thought maybe that he had a coolant passage that was plugged.
Yep.
And I don't honestly know how or when he came to the decision that was not the issue. But he came to the decision that was not the issue, and
is that because he pulled the engine out, completely disassembled it, and put it back together, and then decided that it was fine?
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't think he did
tracks.
pull it out, though.
That seems like something he would do.
But so a couple of weekends ago, there was a gasser event at Eddyville. So there's I think it's called. What's it called? There's a group that travels around. I can't remember what they're called, but they have like they just go to different racetracks. It's not like a big deal. It's usually, I think there were 10 or 11 cars in the class, but they just run on like regular weekends where everyone else is doing regular bracket race points season racing. And they're just an additional class that's going on that day. Nothing fancy. It's not like these fuel altered world national events that I've gone to at Eddyville in the past or anything like that. It's just another class on a regular bracket Saturday. But you can win money, which I know is a real like strange thing to road racers.
In racing?
No, I'm not familiar.
That doesn't make any sense.
But you could pay your entry. I think like basically 4 places back would at least pay your entry.
No, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
That's not tracking for us.
Yeah. In a class with 8 or 10 cars in it.
No.
Sounds like something where
half the competitors raced for free that weekend is essentially what it boiled down to.
They raced for $40 less than what it took to get them there.
Well, okay.
They didn't race for free.
No, but like they got their entry fee back. One guy got part of his fuel bill paid.
Yeah.
I think it came out to be like $100 to win.
That'd be great.
It's $100 more than any of us have ever won racing.
So
actually, that's not true. I've won money junior drag racing.
I've actually taken money home from an autocross before. One of the clubs here pays out based on packs, which is funny on like 7 levels, but
oh my gosh. I would hate that place. I would not even out of principle, I would not even compete there.
So I co-drove with another guy that was pretty fast and we both top 10. So I left with like $40 or something like that. I was pretty stoked. And we just used it to pay for dinner on the way home, but
right. Obviously.
My So real quick, my favorite thing about bracket racing and the amount of money that it pays to win. There was guys that wouldn't go and race at tracks around here because they were only paying out like $750 to win, when they would never ever make it out of the buyback round. Right? They're like, but I'm not going to race for $750. Like, you don't have to worry about that.
You're not going to race for anything.
We never worried about that because we weren't making it out of like second or third round,
Right.
best case scenario. So the 1,500 or the 250, it didn't really make a difference.
25. You're not taking it home anyway. So we get to the racetrack. Of course, it's supposed to be raining that day. When I went to bed Friday night, I was all but certain that my dad wasn't going. But as my dad does, he calls me at 6:30 Saturday morning and he says, "We're going to the racetrack."
Did you?
All right, Dad.
Did you
Whatever,
tell him that
dude.
you didn't like the clouds?
I did. I probably said those exact words even, because anytime there's even a cloud in the sky, I don't like it.
I don't like those clouds.
I'll never live that down. I mean, that's got to be pushing
20 years.
a 20-year-old joke at this point.
So for those
I say it to people.
for those that haven't been listening to the podcast since the beginning, and Adam and I used to skate. So this would have been like when we were 17, 18.
No, because we were skating with Ryan. So I was
I was fresh out of high school. So I'd have been
I think I might have been in college.
okay. I'd have been like
I don't know.
19.
I would say it was like 2007 or 8, probably.
Yeah, so 1 year out of high school,
2009 maybe.
something like that. But yeah, so we were at a skate competition in Sioux Falls, and a bunch of us were already.
We were going there that day. We weren't even there yet.
I thought we were there already. I thought my group that came in my car was already there or almost there. And you were leaving Sheldon behind us, and you texted us, "I don't like these clouds." And we were far enough ahead that there wasn't a fucking cloud in the sky.
But it was raining where I was.
So yeah,
I don't remember the details, but it was absolutely not nice where I was.
and it was
And everybody was
beautiful.
like, "What the fuck are you talking about, dude?" Like, dude, it's raining.
No, dude, there's not a cloud anywhere. 74 and sunny, literally.
And 20 years later, anytime that there is even the mildest inclement weather, Robbie's over here like, "Oh, I don't like these clouds."
Don't like them.
And now, just because this is the way my life is, I say that at work and shit like that, and nobody gets it, but I don't care.
It's a good.
Just tell them to go back and listen to all 355 episodes of the podcast, and they'll understand.
58. Thank you.
On last week, like Wednesday, I woke up and my left eye was like so swollen I could barely see out of it. I don't know what was going on. I don't know if I had like a
Allergies?
sty or
What
the fuck was I don't know. And like it was constantly watering, and there was something wrong with it. It's still a little tender, but I get to work, and we have a girl that works there. I don't even know what her job actually is. What her title is. She like manages all of our underground crews, right? Which is a lot. I mean, she's got like 40 or 60 people she's managing or whatever. But she said something to me about my eye being all messed up or whatever, and because I'm like rubbing it in my sleeve and stuff like that. She's like, "That's why it looks like that." And I'm like, "I don't understand what you're talking about." Like, she's like, "At least use like a clean Kleenex or something." I'm like, I took the shirt out of the dryer this morning. It's clean. It's fine. Like, no, and whatever.
Yeah, but the shirt you were doing that with the day before you had been underground with, so
it's fine. Don't worry about it. So then there was another guy that I work with who's like our design and permitting manager, who apparently had a similar issue with one of his eyes on Monday of that week. And I said something to the effect of, we need to stop pooping in each other's or farting in each other's faces, because clearly we're getting pink eye or something. And she's standing there while I said this, and she like, I don't even remember what she said, but I was like, "Hey, we don't kink shame here."
Attaboy.
And she's like, "What?" And I was like, "There's no kink shaming. Like, what I do with James off the clock at home is my own business. You can't kink shame me for this." And she's just like,
She's
What
just
is happening right now?
sending an email to HR at
Nah.
And he repeated it 5 times.
He's like, no. Get it? Huh?
English is not her first language, so my favorite thing to do is like say really dumb like sayings.
Like American idioms or whatever.
Like my security badge card thing wasn't working anymore today. So I went in, she's the one in charge of those things for whatever reason. So I went into her office. I said, yeah, I think my card gave up the ghost. And she was like, what does that mean? And I was like, I don't know, but it's like a thing. And she's like, no, it's not. And I was like, it absolutely is a thing. I'm not just making this stuff up to like confuse you. People say that.
Yeah, I speak English as my main language, and I don't understand what it means.
I knew what you meant.
But
I mean, I know the saying, but I don't understand how it's relevant to the thing that it means. So
I don't either. It doesn't matter. But I'll say things like elbows to assholes because she doesn't get that one either, or just like dumb, like butter my buns and call me a biscuit.
Yep.
Just dumb shit like that, just to see her like try and logic that out in her head. Like, what does that have to do with anything right now?
Can't swing a dead cat around here without hitting XYZ.
My other favorite Robbie saying that I have used in front of her at work: I can't see a broke dick right now.
That one still
HR at.
That one still gets Jess too, because like I'll be backing up her car. I was like, I can't see a broke dick. And it's been years and she still doesn't like find it funny or get it. And
So that makes it even better.
I don't have the slightest clue where it came from. Say it all the time.
I would stop saying it if I didn't find it fucking hilarious.
Oh my God. Can't see a broke dick.
Well, I can't.
Like, wait, is your dick?
It makes no sense. So that's the best part.
I can see because you would be fairly close to it if it was yours, but if it was someone else's, I don't
Can't see it. That's all that matters.
So, anyway, my dad's race car. So we get to Eddyville. It's raining because, of course, it is. We went through tech, got the car teched, and then just basically sat in the trailer for like an hour and a half, just waiting for the rain to go away or for them to call the event and send us home. And they decided to go ahead and make some passes. So Dad gets up there, lines the car up, goes through the burnout, everything goes fine, runs it all the way down the track, we got to back up. So we get it through tech, and it's not running right. And the weekend before, he had taken the distributor to a buddy of his house because he's got another buddy who's got a recurve machine for distributors. And so my dad had it recurved a little bit. I don't know exactly what that means. Maybe Dusty could fill us in. I think he pulled some timing advance out of the distributor, maybe.
No one's known what that meant since 1972.
Dusty's like, yeah, I've got a machine. I do it 4 times a week.
No,
you guys don't have a distributor recurving machine?
No. I'm assuming he just like changed because there's like mechanical advance where you have springs inside.
So it changes the mechanical advance and stuff like that.
So you just change the weight of the springs or the weight of the weights themselves.
Yeah.
We always, because like our stuff, we always just locked it out, just put that bitch at 36 degrees and call it good. So
I don't know. So he brought it back to our paddock area, and we popped the hood open so that he could play with the distributor a little bit and try and get it to run a little better, or we were going to check timing or whatever. Well, the fans are on a switch, not on a thermostat, and he forgot to switch the fans on. And so while it's sitting there idling and we're checking timing, and then all of a sudden it's just puking water out of the pressure relief valve on his little overflow tank thing that he's got going. And so that was pretty cool. considering that he was worried about the engine not flowing correctly. And then I realized, well, Dad, the fans aren't spinning. So we turned the fans on, and that brought the car back into temperature really fast, and it seemed to be okay. It seemed like nothing was wrong. We didn't blow a head gasket or anything like that. So we took it out on the racetrack. He made his burnout. Everything went good. He staged. He launched. And as soon as he launched, he's clearly smoking out the passenger side of the car the whole way down the racetrack. And I wasn't sure if it was oil smoke or steam, water hitting the header smoke. Who knows?
Like out the exhaust or just out from under the car?
No, out from underneath, like right out from behind the front tire, which would be where anything would come out that came from the engine. Whether it be steam or oil smoke or whatever, but it's coming from the engine itself.
Okay.
Does it just have like fender well headers that dump out, or is it a regular like under the car header?
No, they dump out just behind they're not in the fenders, because routing that would have been really, really difficult. But they route kind of through the fender and then dump out the side of the car right underneath the front door.
Oh yeah, so they go over the top of the frame rail and then down.
Yeah, I think so.
Because gasser.
For sure they do. Right. Yes, gasser things. They're not like dumped out the fender like some of the real hardcore gassers, because he did buy a set of headers and then adapt them to fit the car, like cut off parts and kind of re-plumbed them a little bit to make them fit.
Yeah, gasser things.
Right. So the car gets back, and he's driving down the return road, and he says it's making some weird noises, and he pulls in, and I said, you were smoking out the passenger side of the car the whole way down the racetrack. I don't know if it was oil or if it was water or what, but there's something wrong with the car. And he says, yeah, and it doesn't sound right at all. So we kind of got to looking at a few things. We flipped forward because the front end is a big one-piece fiberglass clamshell, right? So we flipped that up. We pulled the head or the valve cover off to make sure that all the valves are still running. Everything looks fine. They're all still doing their ups and downs. I found a couple of bolts that were mysteriously loose that I just think he didn't nut and bolt well enough.
There's a theme.
Yeah. That's neither here nor there, but it just, something didn't sound right about the engine. And so then we went to load it up, and I noticed that it's dripping oil. It's got a diaper on it because it's required.
Yep.
And so it's dripping oil out of the back of the diaper, but like that could come from anywhere in the motor. It's really hard to tell because it's got the diaper on it. So like, it could be a rear main seal leak. It could be a hole in the block because you threw a rod. It could be that your oil pan isn't sealed. You don't know what it is. So you get the diaper off, which is not apparently like all that easy to do. So we pushed the car back in the trailer after one pass, packed things up, and went home. Said, screw it, we're done. Like, all right, is what it is. And then he pulled the motor out the next day and tore it down. And I did forget to send Robbie this picture. I do have a picture of it, but basically it ate a bearing.
Oh, you did send us that picture.
Yeah, so it ate one of the crank bearings.
Ugh.
Real bad. And because it ate the crank bearing, it had enough play in it that it smacked, the piston smacked one of the valves. But the valves still seal. They still pass lockdown. Everything seems fine. So he bought a new piston to replace that one because it had a couple of dents and dings in it. And I think maybe because it was rocking in there, I think it sandwiched like a ring.
Sure.
gap or something weird. But the piston's smoked. The block is fine. The head is fine. The crank, he's having all 8 bearings turned and just put new ones in, all 8, and then replacing one piston. And hopefully, fingers crossed, she can go back together again. So we don't know why it spun a bearing. Dusty's going to tell me that Pontiacs have oiling issues, but he's been running that almost exact same motor setup for 40 years and never had that issue previously. So I don't know, man.
Yeah, sometimes things just happen.
Yeah. So it's a new motor, so kind of an is what it is situation, I guess.
Yeah,
So,
at least it gave warning signs before it just undid everything.
Yeah.
And made windows and things.
Yeah. Yeah. So we got away without having too much issue with it. So, yeah, I don't know.
Is it like stock crank, or is it all aftermarket stuff?
It's an aftermarket crank because it's a 400, but it's a stroker, so it's like so. This is
Is it a 455 or what is it?
No, it's a 400 block.
Okay.
So my very, very rudimentary rough understanding of Pontiac things is that the 400 and the 455 blocks are essentially the same, and you can just put the different crank in it.
Cool. I'll take your word for it.
I could be totally off base, but I think that's how it works. And so it's a 400 block because I think there's some strength advantages to the 400 block, but then you put a stroker crank in it to make it basically comes out to like a it's a little over 455 cubic inches, a little bit more because I think it's been like bored 20 or 30 over. So
got it.
But yeah, hopefully the motor just goes back together and we can move on with our lives and the car will run. So the first problem was that his machine shop, like it seems every machine shop on the planet these days, that's worth a damn, is 6 or 8 months out on everything.
Oh, wow.
You know,
I know.
And so
I know of one that's not, but
pains?
I know of one that's not, but it's because we don't put anything together. We just machine it and give it back to you, and you get to put it together. So,
so I think in Missouri, where my dad is living right now, pretty much all the machinists, at least that he has talked to, are one-man bands.
yeah,
And they've been doing this for 60 years, and they're only 55, so don't ask me how that's possible. But it is. And when they get to it, they get to it. Yeah. And it might – but my dad was able to get the guy – I think he had to really sweet talk him, and I know the guy was not real thrilled with the whole situation, but he did kind of rush my dad's stuff through. And so I think he has the crank back and he's waiting on the piston, or maybe the crank is almost done and he's got the piston. I don't know, one or the two. But he's waiting on a few parts and he's hoping that he'll have everything to put the motor back together this weekend.
Nice.
So in a perfect world, by the time this podcast comes out, there'll be a motor back in the gasser. We'll see.
He'll be pulling wheelies again.
So it doesn't wheelie as much as he wants it to right now. So he's already planning on changing some of the rear end suspension geometry or whatever it is that you do, so it pulls better wheelies.
Perfect.
Is it like ladder bars or?
Yeah, it's ladder bars. Yeah. So I don't know if you soften them up or whatever it is you do. And I was like, that's slower, right? And he's like, yeah, but it's more fun. Like, all right, you're not wrong. I can't argue with that logic.
If you do it right, it's not necessarily slow.
He doesn't need like monster wheelies. Like he doesn't want to, point it at the sky, but he does want to carry him a little ways. So
perfect.
I don't know.
As somebody who has taken pictures of cars that pull wheelies and cars that don't pull wheelies, cars that pull wheelies look faster in pictures.
It's true. Yeah. absolutely. But cars that don't pull wheelies look faster on timing boards.
Oh, who cares about that?
Nah, it's not what
It's
we're
about the content, not the time slips.
Not dad when you're a bracket racer who's not that good at it to begin with,
Hey,
right? It just as well be fun. So,
as long as it can wheelie and run consistent times, it doesn't matter then.
right, yeah. But also, bracket racing is weirdly hard, and only some people are any good at it. So,
Yeah, and a lot of them are cheating. So,
well, I mean, are they racing?
yeah.
Because no, they're cheating.
Whenever we were running no electronics bracket racing and having guys run 00 and then like dead 3 every pass, I was like, you assholes are cheating.
Yeah. No electronics, my ass.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yep.
But I don't know. We they had a bunch of junior dragsters there, so we watched the junior dragsters, and my son expresses the interest in it, but I worry that because my dad's like literally all he needs is someone to say yes, and there'll be a junior in the garage the next day.
He has 7 junior dragsters saved on Marketplace at any given time, for sure.
Yeah, at all times. Absolutely. But my son says he will, but I'm convinced, and thankfully my dad feels the same way, so he hasn't wasted his money on it yet. But I'm convinced that as soon as you put that in front of my son and it's materialized there and it's there, that he'll check it out.
Yeah, the foot to the floor moment is the problem.
Right. And I know we talked about this with Beck years ago, that I guess Eddyville used to own a junior dragster that you could rent for a night just to, see how your kid liked it, which I think is a brilliant plan.
Yeah.
But I don't think they still have it.
That's too bad.
Yeah, there's a kart track here that's there's a kart track here that's membership based that they have. They have like a cadet cart that you can rent for an afternoon, and they've got all the gear and everything. You just show up with a kid and they'll stick them in it and it's not much money at all because they know what they're doing.
Yeah. The first hit is
Virtually free.
cheap.
Virtually free. Yeah.
It's cheap. Yeah, absolutely. I just feel like you'd have double the number of cars if they could try it out. There's a huge hesitation. What if he doesn't like it?
Well, it's kind of like getting into SCCA club racing. You have to go and buy a full caged race car to even get a license to go club racing. It's like, whoa, wait a minute.
Right. And I got to spend $10,000 on a licensing class and all that. It used to be. It's not that way anymore, but
yeah,
it's not quite that bad now, but
so you still got to do the full school and all that shit.
Yeah.
And then you got to go to the doctor for your physical. Like, it's a whole deal. It's still a deal.
You got to have somebody put their finger in your butt.
Yep.
that's part of why my dad didn't want to go as fast as the Tempest would allow him to go, is because if he goes as fast as he wants the gasser to go, the license he needs doesn't require a physical. But if he went as fast as the Tempest could go, it did, and he didn't want that.
Was it
And I
49 or?
No, I don't think it's even that fast because the car didn't.
Or maybe not. Yeah, maybe $9.99.
I think it's $9.99 because the car ran like a mid to low 9, and he had technically had to have the license, all the fancy license for it. And there's a big jump up in safety equipment that you need to go from like a 10.0 to a 9.99, and I think he's just looking for like what would be equivalent of like a mid 11 in the gasser. So, yeah. So then other shenanigans my father's up to, because apparently that could be its own podcast. So my mom has MS, and at this point she's nearly completely wheelchair ridden. She can't really walk at all. She can walk around in the house in very limited spurts, but like going out in places in public, she basically has to be in a wheelchair. And so my dad has been looking for an option that would allow him to haul a wheelchair so that they can still go and do the car cruise car shows and stuff like that. But something that's kind of cool enough for my dad to want to be in that situation that fits a wheelchair. And so he's been eyeballing GMC Cyclones for quite a while now.
So by fits a wheelchair, you mean you can just take it with you. You don't actually have to be in the wheelchair in the vehicle.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like she can walk around. She
Right.
can get up and get in. He just wants to fold it up and put it in the back. But like
Gotcha.
you can't, even a folded wheelchair won't fit in the back of a 76 Firebird Formula. It just won't.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
So
when you said fits a wheelchair, I just had the image of a Honda Fit with a wheelchair in the back of it, and I was like, that seems like perfectly reasonable transportation.
put a
I'm not sure
rascal
what.
in a Honda Fit. I don't know what you're talking about. So he's been looking at Cyclones and a few other things, but I come by my love for all things GM mini truck. Honestly, that's my dad's fault. That's one of the few things car love that has very much transferred to me. So this is kind of a bucket list car for him, more so as of late because it makes sense for what he wants to do. And so he's been looking at a few, but as anyone who's been watching that market knows, they are not cheap anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, even by like the start of this podcast, they were like not astronomical. Like you could buy them for $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, and now that same truck would be 15 or 20.
That's crazy.
In less than 10 years time.
Yeah. Anything that's in like really good shape is like 15 to 20 easy down here.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So my dad texts me one day while I'm at work out of the blue. He sends me a picture of his F-250 with the trailer and a Cyclone on it. And like, this is the first I've heard of any of this. And so I call him and I'm like, you did. There's no way that this is real. Like, there's no way you just bought what is one of the coolest vehicles in the world to me, despite the fact that it's automatic. And he's like, yep, I went down and looked at this Cyclone in Kansas City. The guy had it. It doesn't run very well. It has like 25,000 miles on it. It's pretty low mileage. It's very, very nice. He said it literally just needs like a wash and a wax job and maybe a vacuum and a light interior detail. And this thing would fit in at any car show you're going to want to take it to. I mean, it's immaculate inside. And apparently it's got an aftermarket turbo. It's got an aftermarket, I think it's got an aftermarket intercooler system on it. It's got a water to air intercooler on it, which I don't think is factory, but maybe it is. We're not sure. And I don't know enough about these trucks to really know for sure. It's got a chip because this is old enough. It actually is chipped.
Hell yeah.
And like, I think it has all of the recipe to make probably make 400 wheel if it ran well, but it does not. And so my dad, he told me that the guy, I don't remember the money, how much it was cost. And I wouldn't say it on the podcast anyway, cause I'm not going to blow his spot, but, the guy was asking X number of dollars for it. And my dad kind of, I'm not really looking for a project. Not really that interested in it right now, thanks for your time, but no.
Hit me up when you're ready for a low ball.
Right. And so then my dad drives away and 5 minutes later, his phone goes off with a lower price on it.
Ah, nice.
My dad kind of looks at it and puts his phone down, continues driving home. And 2 or 3 minutes later, it pops up with yet a lower price. He goes, today only, I got bills to pay.
Dang.
And so my dad called him back and he's like, are you sure?
Hit him for 1,000 less than that.
Yeah. I just need to let it go. All right. I'll turn around. I'll be back. So my dad picked it up for kind of a song and dance. A very good price for the truck, given its condition, even though it doesn't run well. Got it home. I told him, this is an 80s boosted vehicle. The very first thing I would do is check for booster vacuum leaks and, just go through it. start there and work your way up.
I bet it probably has like 7 miles of vacuum hose underneath the
right.
underneath
Exactly. Yeah. And it's got a bunch of bolt-on parts on it. My dad said that when you looked at it, there's a bunch of things that like clearly should go somewhere but don't.
There's your problem.
And all kinds of stuff. So he started troubleshooting it out, fixed a bunch of little things, fixed a bunch of things more, did spark plugs on it, which apparently was quite an undertaking. It's shocking how hard it is to work underneath the hood of those trucks.
Especially when there's a turbo involved.
Right. Well, turbos make everything more difficult. There's no doubt. Slowly but incrementally getting it to run better and better. Put new fuel injectors in it under the recommendation of a mechanic friend of his who's worked on them before. And kind of got it to the point where it's actually running pretty good right now. And I guess he took it out of town and really laid into the thing. And all of a sudden, plumes of smoke coming out from underneath the hood, pulls over, pops the hood. Apparently it blew the oil cap off the valve cover.
Oh, shit.
And was like straight just steaming out of there. Like a boiling teapot on a stove, apparently. And so it appears that the motor has enough blow by that when it gets into boost, it pressurizes the crankcase and it needs a rebuild. And I believe that it's a 25,000 mile original truck and motor. And I kind of wonder if, there's a ring that's stuck or something, because it just has sat for so long and not been ran and not been cycled and just, but where he's at right now is kind of, I don't think that there's that much of a difference between the 4.3 that's in there and the 4.3 that's in the Blazer in my driveway. I think he found a place that will sell you a reman short block, and then you just bolt all the stuff that makes it a Cyclone back onto it, put it back in the truck, and down the road you go. It does say on the internet, when you look at Wikipedia, that the factory Cyclone motor had those, like, I don't know how you pronounce hyperuretic or however you pronounce that.
Hypereutectic.
Yeah, sure. That word.
I would be curious to look at what the differences were between a standard 4.3 and that, because I'm betting it was probably a little bit lower compression, different piston and ring package and stuff just to deal with the boost. But if he's not,
right,
it's not going to crank it up. It's kind of.
And I said, like, between the fact that, like, it's a modern days, we have like better fuel, better oil, better things like that, and he's not going to be dumb about it. Like, I think he'll be safe, just kind of throwing that motor in there and seeing what happens. I really don't. And he was going to call the reman place and see if he can get like a slightly different rotating assembly in there. See if they offer upgrade kits. So, but apparently he threw it on Facebook Marketplace because he's my dad and that's what he does. So I think it was one of those, like, I'm just going to throw it on Marketplace, and if somebody offers me what I'm asking for it, then I'll just go buy a different one. What do I care? And within 40 minutes of him putting it up there, I got text messages from 2 different people going like, "Oh, Dad's already selling the Cyclone, I see." Like, yeah, I guess. I don't fucking know, man. What do you want me to tell you? Like, it's my dad. It's what he does.
Send him your highest bid.
Right. So I call him and I'm like, I throwing it up there, but see if somebody buys it. And if not, then you fix it. And he goes, "Yeah, I've had it up for like an hour and a half and I'm already about to the point where I'm going to take it back down because I'm annoyed with people about it." Because I guess it's just like people sending a message like, "Oh, I used to think those trucks were so cool when I was a kid. Wish I could afford it. Good luck with your sale." My dad's like, "Why? Why?
Truck people.
And I guess somebody offered him an even over trade for a white convertible automatic red interior C5 Corvette. And
That
my dad hates red interiors as much as I hate the color green on cars. So like that's a convertible, doesn't want it. An automatic, doesn't want it. Red interior, not where he's at. I'm like, don't even answer him. Like, who cares? And then somebody asked him for the VIN number, and my dad asked him why, and he didn't really give him a good answer. And my dad, so the last 4 digits of the VIN are the serial number, like, because those are numbered trucks, right?
Yep.
And so the last 4 digits of the VIN are your truck number. And so my dad gave him the VIN up to the last 4. And the guy's like, well, that's not the whole VIN. And
then he got
like,
real mad.
I don't know what you're right. Well, he's like, I don't know what you're trying to do here. So I'm not giving you the VIN to my truck. Because I assume that guy's trying to look it up on some registry or something like that.
Yep.
Because I'm sure there's a Cyclone registry.
Yeah, it's actually the Sci-Ty registry, I believe, because it's Cyclone and Typhoon.
There you go. Right. Yeah.
Here's a glimpse into my brain. Yeah, SciTyRegistry.com.
I assumed it was. Yeah. So that guy, that's a no starter. And I think I wouldn't be surprised. That was yesterday, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's not on Facebook Marketplace already today. So, but yeah, I don't know what we'll do with it. I really, really, really want to go down there and see it. I'm really, really sad that it doesn't run well. I really hope that he gets it running so that I can drive it. I'm very excited for it. It is legitimately, I told him flat out, that's the coolest thing you've ever bought, in my opinion. So
that's a bold
and
statement.
he was, I would say not like real upset by that, but I think it stung a little.
As the driver of a tube chassis Tempest and the owner of a Trans Am, and
I mean,
he's had some cool shit.
Sure, he's had a lot of stuff. He just bought a 64 Buick Skylark. I don't know why. He hates Buicks. Text me one day, or text me Saturday, goes, proud owner of another Buick. Why, Dad? I guess he bought it at an auction and he thinks he can make money on it. More power to him.
Just drop it on the ground. It'll look way cooler. It'll sell.
He's not into that. Very much not into that. So
shame.
As somebody,
that's my dad for you.
As somebody who's cripplingly attached to the same like 3 vehicles for the last 20 years, I admire your dad so much. Like, nope, don't give a shit. Moving down the road.
He's like E-Man, but slightly less impulsive about certain things, but slightly more impulsive about other things.
He's as obsessed with Pontiacs as E-Man is Nissans.
More Datsuns than Nissans.
I think E-Man bites off more than he can chew sometimes, and my dad seems to pull through on stuff.
That is for sure.
Reason.
Your dad always seems to pull through on any of these projects or anything he buys.
Yeah. So whether the project takes a completely different direction before it gets to the end, or just flat out gets sold and moved on down the river, is anybody's guess. But it's always an adventure.
Yes.
So, yeah. So I don't know. I genuinely hope that he gets the thing running. I really want to drive this thing. I think it'll be a little hot rod. So it's got a bigger turbo on it, which is a whole ordeal. And I think it looks like it's going to be a fun little truck.
It looks great.
So,
it looks like a lot of fun. Shame
I
that
wish
it's an auto.
They're all autos.
I know, it's a shame.
I know, I agree. That was literally what I was about to say, is that like I wish they made them as a manual, but they don't exist. So
shoot,
it is what it is.
I found a company that lists a turbocharged application 4.3 crate motor for $250.
You should send me that so that I can send it to my dad. Dusty, in your infinite and useless GM engine knowledge, it is my rough understanding that a 4.3 is essentially a similar generation small block Chevy missing 2 cylinders.
Yeah, they cut it's essentially a 350 with the second to last pair of cylinders cut out of it.
And then slid forward.
Yeah. Yeah, or slid backward, either one. But yeah.
Whatever, yeah. But
if you look at the exhaust...
if you wanted to, you could buy a pretty badass rotating assembly for a 4.3.
Yeah, there's all kinds of speed parts out there for them.
Right, because they're small block parts. Essentially.
They did one on Hot Rod Garage. They made they made a clone of a Cyclone.
Yeah.
And I think built a pretty hot 6-cylinder for it. And then it didn't ever perform up to what they thought it should have because it was Hot Rod Garage. But
sorry.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there for those. And
if you wanted to get stupid, you could build a rotating assembly that'll hold 1,000 horsepower if you wanted to.
Yeah,
because it's just small block parts, basically. You just need a crank that works, but pistons, valves, connecting rods, all that stuff is basically the same.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part.
Is valve train similar still, or the same? Do you have any idea?
I think so, because I mean, it's just a small block head, it's just shorter. Yeah. But
that's what I thought.
I know people for a while, they were popular in some of the engine size based class racing, class drag racing stuff.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. All I can do is make suggestions, and he'll listen to my suggestions, and then he either will or won't take them. And honestly, I kind of hope he doesn't, because it's more interesting that way. Because whatever decision he makes will be fucking wild and crazy. He's a loose cannon.
Anytime the phone rings or a text message shows up, you just go, "Ooh, what do we have here?"
Yeah. I wonder. He called me right before we started this, and I didn't answer it. And I don't know. We'll see what he has to say.
That means this podcast.
He may have already bought it.
Yeah, I was going to say this.
I don't know.
This podcast
maybe he's already sold the Cyclone. I don't know.
This podcast is already out of date.
Completely irrelevant at this point.
Yeah, it can be completely irrelevant already. We'll never know. I guess tune in next time.
Yep.
At least someone's doing it for the content.
Exactly. We appreciate that. We'll do this since we haven't done it in a while. Remind everybody to head over to mypetchbox.com. We got the code TTP15. You get 15% off that first box. Get car culture delivered to your house once a month. I've been doing a terrible job of promoting this. Besides wearing my shirts,
that's a sweet shirt you've got on there, sir.
I consistently wear my Petrolbox shirts basically everywhere I go. That's almost the only shirts that I wear in public.
Well, that's because it's the only shirts I have.
Exactly. But that, or the one thing that Jessica goes, yeah, we need to get insert window cleaner, car care product, whatever. And I was like, no, we don't. Go into the shop. Go to the bookcase. There is at least 6 of them. I have all of them.
It's true.
Because they show up once a month, and I am fully stocked on everything that I need, and it is wonderful.
There was an odor neutralizer in one a month or two back. Works so good.
Yep. And when you buy a Sonic that the previous owner smoked in, it is wonderful.
Yeah.
And it worked great. It really does.
Or when you have 2 kids, 3 cats, and a dog.
That'll do it too.
You get some weird smells in your house. There's just no getting around it.
Or a wife that will leave a wet towel from swim lessons in the back of her car for a few days in the hot sun.
That'll
What's
do
that
it.
like?
Yeah. I'm about to try out one of those odor neutralizers. So fun times.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to get tools, shirts, car care products, stuff like that, mypetrolbox.com. Use the code TTP15. Also, if you click on the button that says shop, that is stuff from previous boxes. That's just a la carte. It's stuff that's available currently. And wow, my internet is slow. Maybe it's their website. This is still working, so it can't just be completely my internet at this point. But there it goes. But yeah, so hats, pins, dog collars, people collars, whatever, leashes. No kink shaming.
It's not cat collars.
No cat collars.
John specifically says do not use them for cats.
Do not put them on your cats. They will hang themselves. That is a fact.
Cat collars have a lower breakaway strength.
I mean, that's the cat's problem, not
Things
ours.
I learned from John.
Or planning way ahead. This is great for like birthdays and Christmases because you can just go in and be like, oh, I think my dad would want these gloves, followed by this wax, followed by this cleaner. And all of a sudden, before you know it, you have a whole Christmas or birthday present all put together. MyPetRobox.com.
You use our code, you get a discount on it.
That's right. Yeah, anything that's in the store gets that 15% too. We have one more thing, and it's Dusty. He also has done Z-Boy things.
So I tried to do exciting track Z-Boy things.
What?
And
what do you mean try? There is no
apparently, so there's a group here called Apex Driving Academy. Apparently they host like the hottest events outside of Grid Life because I registered 3.5 weeks in advance and went straight to the wait list and did not get in.
Dang.
Yeah.
Where's this at?
So this one was at Crescent. And I thought I had plenty of time and it turned out I did not. So they do both HPDE and time attack. And I was just trying to do DE because it's been forever since I've been on track and I've had terrible luck and I just want to feel the car out. And
I get that.
It was full.
Dang.
So I registered and got on the wait list and made this nice big long list of things that I needed to do to the car because it's basically just been getting street driven forever. And started working my way through that list and then grew increasingly pessimistic that I was actually going to make the event. And also that coincided with the temperature increasing outside. So my big long list turned into knocking out a couple things and then going down a rabbit trail of, so the list included, like check the alignment, change all of the fluids, figure out what the hell tires I'm going to put on it because I've got a set of V730s that I've had forever and they're pretty much toast. So alignment turned into figuring out that, so I use a, SPC makes like suspension parts and stuff. They have this alignment tool that clips onto the rim of the wheel.
It's kind of like it looks just like a quick trick.
Yeah, it's really similar. So it can be used for both camber and caster. So the vial for the level has like a screw in it that you can undo and then raise it up, put it down to do the caster. And then you just put the screw back into it and it locks it back at 0. So I'd taken it apart at one point to do something to it. And whenever I put it back together, I didn't make sure that piece with the vial in it was level to the tool. So for some amount of time, I've been putting like 1.5 degrees less of camber into the car than what I thought I would.
Damn it.
Son of a bitch.
So I'm out there and I got a digital, it's like laser level / digital level display thing. So I put the camera gauge on the car. I look at my bubble. It's like 3 point. It's like right between 3.5 and 3 3/4. So like right on where I want it to be. I put the bubble level on it and it shows like 3.1. Like, ooh, that's not 3. That's a good amount off from 3 3/4 that I thought I had. And like take a step back from it, look around, like, okay, if we get a carpenter's square, like put a carpenter's square just up against the wheel and set the digital level on it, and it shows like 1.9. I'm like, ooh, okay. something has gone awry here. And then I realized that whenever I took it apart and put it back together, I did not get the bubble level part of it square to the rest of the tool.
Dang.
And it was like at least 1.5 degrees off, which would explain a lot of things. Like, it wore the outside shoulders of these 730s in no time. And I'm just trying to think to myself, like, how did this happen with that much camber in the car? Well, that explains it. There's no camber in the car. So along in all of this, I am also, we've got 2 sets of 295 Yokohamas that I came into that were scrubs. And I tried to put them on the car, and it was like, this is not happening. There's no possible way that I'm doing this without ruining the fender and the quarters on this car. Well, yeah, because it had no camber at all. So get out there, if you fix my camber gauge, get it to where the bubble level or the bubble and the digital level are reading fairly close to each other. And then I'm just using the digital level as my guide at this point. So so my upper control arms use a rod end that screws into like a tubular control arm. And there was a guide a long time ago that said that like every turn of these rod ends is like 0.18 of a degree. And every time I've aligned the car and touched the camber, I've just adjusted like 1, maybe 2. I put 5 rounds on both of these things.
Jeez.
And got it up to like the I think it ended up like 3.6, which is right in the neighborhood of what I was looking for. And then with my street wheels on, like my street wheels that the tire was actually out like pretty close to the fender, it's now got tons of room.
Plenty of gap now.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, now it's time to get the 295 back down here and see how close we are. And so I spent a good portion of a Saturday and then a good like a couple hours per night, like 3 nights the following week out there with the fender roller. Just like I just pulled the inner fenders out of the front and just started wailing on these fenders. And it rolled because the Z has like a 2-inch kind of flat on the outer portion of the wheel opening, and I took it from being nearly straight up and down to like a 30-degree angle, and boom, 295's fit now. And I think it also ended up, it rolled that lip out, but I think it actually kind of pulled the entire fender out a little bit up at the very top because my hood gap is slightly bigger than what it was. But yeah,
that tool does a good job, but yeah, you can see it just like completely changing the entire curvature of that fender.
Yeah, so I got video of it while I was doing it, and it's kind of horrifying and hilarious all at the same time. But
it looks, I mean, yours looks way nicer than the baseball bat technique that I use.
You don't say.
A lot smoother. But mine sticks out further, so whatever.
Well, it's all those GTR parts.
No, I mean, that's why I had to make everything else all fucked up and fit it.
Right.
But it fits. That's all that matters. The rules say that the fender has to go over the tire. It doesn't say how it has to do it. It doesn't say it has to look good doing it. It just has to do it.
There is something in there about like cars needing to uphold a certain level of appearance, I think. But
it's a race car. It's all fucked.
All race cars are show cars.
True story. Even if you baseball bat technique it.
So yeah, while I was in there, back to talking about people finding loose stuff on their car, like we were talking about earlier, Adam. I found a few things like the jam nut on one of the upper control arms on the rod end, which holds the ball joint, was loose. And then on the other side, I have the GK Tech angle kit on it. So there's like 3 bolts that hold the bracket to the upright. Those were all still good. The bolt that goes in from the bottom that goes in through the tie rod that holds the rod end for the tie rod in there was also loose. So I got all that tightened up, and I was like, it doesn't go pop, creak, bang whenever I turn the wheels now. That makes sense. Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I've got it to where the 295s will fit, and I think I've got everything tight. Again, I need to pull it back, like get it back up in the air, and I still got to flush the brakes and do a few other things, but I did find the local SCCA group is running at Eagles Canyon, and they're running on the 1.6, which is the short track, and they're doing it clockwise, which is like the opposite direction as normal. And it's one of the most fun tracks I've ever been on. Ran it several years ago in the Camaro. So like they're doing that July 5th. So I was like, yep, I'll register for that one. And I'm registering it right now because there's not that many people entered, and I'm not sitting on another wait list again. And it's going to be hot as balls, but
it's fine.
Get the car back out.
You can just go stand in the air-conditioned Eagles Canyon stuff because everything's AC there. It's fine.
That will be the plan for sure. But so, yeah, just driving it on the street on my crappy old all-season street tires, it's like, man, it feels like way more grippy now that it actually has the camber that I thought it had in it. So I'm cautiously optimistic. Oh, and while I was there, I put new hubs on the front because, that's what you do as a...
Yeah, it's been about 3 months, yeah.
General, quarterly maintenance item on a Z. So
I know how to fix that.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, man, just need some GTR parts.
Yep, GTR parts in the front and 370Z parts in the rear.
I'm a little worried that it might be the rears because it's still doing some knockbacky things.
The rears are way easier.
Well, I put 370s on it, but I use cheapo 370s,
Yeah,
so I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not. But
maybe a little.
Yeah, they feel fine. They don't, like, the fronts had noticeable, like, I could get, once the tire was off the ground, I could literally go clunk, 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 clunk with the wheel. I can't do that with the rears, so I don't know what I've got going on, but
Z things.
I'll just be a cool boy and on the straightaway every time.
Yeah. Do what all the cool kids do and brag about, like, on all the streets, I have to sit here and tap my brakes the whole fucking time because I'm cool.
Cool.
I've never understood why that's like a
acceptable,
or why it's like a bragging point. It's like I don't get it. Like that
my car is inferior. I'm going to brag about it.
It's a mechanical failure. I understand. Like you have to do more, and you have more bandwidth because like you have to use more bandwidth to do it, and you're better because you can use more bandwidth. But that's not a good use of your bandwidth. But whatever.
Or maybe they just tried everything they could for 3 whole years, throwing everything at it. Didn't get to a point where they fixed it, so they just decided to drive around it.
I tried that.
Basically, where I'm at.
I tried that, and it didn't work out for me, like, at all. It cost me 10 times more money than it would have if I would have just fixed it. So, but yeah, I know a lot of people that do it, so I don't know. That's weird. It's weird to me.
Bill at 350zhubs.com. We just need.
They do it for Miatas.
Somebody, we just need somebody to take the plunge and do it.
I took the plunge, and I have a solution. I already have a write-up that I have shared with a couple people.
But I want to run square tire and wheel setup.
I do run square tire and wheel setup.
I want to do it and not have to like add another inch and a half.
It's only
beyond what I've already done.
It's only 28 millimeters on every corner.
Exactly.
But now your car is wider, your track width is wider, and now it's more stable.
You don't even use ABS, do you, Dusty?
No.
Well, that was the hard part for Robbie. You're fine.
Yeah, the easy part is just putting the hubs on. That shit bolts right up.
You have no excuse.
Yeah. Someday. Well, and I figured out doing like the Evo fitment wheels would get it back within the range of what could be reasonable, but I need Koenig to make the heliogram in an 11 because they only make it in a 10.5 and a 12.
Yep.
And I need it in an 11.
A little bit of stretch is fine. It's fine.
No, a 12 is not. It's like straight up not working. the 295 on an 11 I'm taking I'll put it this way. This is the confidence level I have in how much I've rolled so far. The fender roller is coming with me to the track on the 5th because I'm pretty sure I'm good, but I'm taking it with me just in case.
Probably not the worst idea.
It's hard to simulate full load compression in a warehouse parking lot down the street in Mexico. So,
yep. Is the baseball bat in the back of my truck? Yes.
Yep. I'll take my little fender roller with me. Everything will be fine.
Yep. But yeah, I hope you get into that event and that you have a very uneventful and fun weekend. That's what I hope.
Yeah, it would be nice to go to Eagles Canyon and not have something weird happen, like my car falling off the trailer or something dumb like that. So,
yeah, that kind of takes the steam right out of your day right away.
Yeah. My last outing last year, the car felt weird on track, had a lot of vibrations. I just pulled off the track after the second session and rolled over, and I parked on an incline, and whenever I got the truck up onto the trailer, the back tires of the truck, or whenever I got the car onto the trailer, the back tires of the truck came loose and it slid forward, and the car dropped off of my wood ramps onto the ground and squished the rear bumper with the wood ramps. And then I went home and took my wife to the hospital because she was feeling terrible.
Oh,
and that was the worst day at the track.
Yeah, that was the gift that kept giving. My goodness.
Yeah. And then nearly a year later, we were finally done with all of the things that were related to me taking her to the hospital. So, yeah, fun times.
Yeah.
Spent more than my fair share of the hospital this week. I get that.
Yeah.
So, wife had surgery this week.
No fun.
That was fun.
No, definitely not.
So,
yeah. But I think we did a show, guys.
Well, sweet.
Yeah.
It's past Robbie's bedtime.
It's late, guys. And Adam's ended
it's past my bedtime, but I'm in Central Standard Time.
Yeah, I say Adam's internet's starting to give out too, so it's
to say Adam Roboto has joined us. Domo arigato.
Damn it.
We made it though. We made it through the whole show. So, I guess I can't be like, oh yeah, I'll see you at Mid Ohio, because I won't, because this will be out by the time I've already left. So, anyways, we'll catch everybody next week.
It was great seeing everyone at Mid Ohio.
It was great seeing all of my friends at Mid Ohio. And then anyone that wasn't at Mid Ohio, I apologize that you missed on such a great event. And we'll talk next week.